What's up, everybody, and welcome to Read the Bible with me. I'm Stan Jr., and today we're looking at the book of Judges. We're starting a new book today, so I pray that you're ready to go on this journey through the entire book of Judges. If you're new here, go ahead and click subscribe and turn on your notification bell. We read one chapter out of the Bible every single day, and so if you'd like to be a part of a community that does that together, please follow this channel. And if you're a Bible Club member, please, thank you for being here. Always good to see you guys. Click like on this video and leave a comment below just to make sure that you are here with this first book of Judges. Now, Bible Club members are people that support the ministry with $10 a month through Patreon. And it's really cool because what happens is you can be able to support this ministry as well as another ministry called Voices of Martyrs. And so what we do is we give into this organization so that we're able to send missionaries around the world carrying Bibles, sending those to persecuted Christians everywhere who can't get Bibles. So that's what your $10 does. And if you'd like to become one of us, please click the link in the description. Let's get started with chapter 1 of the book of Judges. After the death of Joshua, the people of Israel inquired of the Lord, "Who shall go up first for us against the Canaanites to fight against them?" The Lord said, "Judah shall go up. Behold, I have given the land into his hand." And Judah said to Simon, his brother, "Come up with me into the territory allotted to me, that we may fight against the Canaanites. And I likewise will go with you into the territory allotted to you." So Simon went with him. Then Judah went up, and the Lord gave the Canaanites and the Perizzites into their hand, and they defeated 10,000 of them at Bezek. They found Adonai-Bezek at Bezek and fought against him and defeated the Canaanites and the Perizzites. Adonai-Bezek fled, but they pursued him and caught him and cut off his thumbs and his big toes. And Adonai-Bezek said, 70 kings with their thumbs and their big toes cut off used to pick up scraps under my table, as I have done. So God has repaid me." And they brought him to Jerusalem, and he died there. They would cut off your thumbs and stuff for stealing, and to cut off your toes for running. And so some places still do stuff like that. And the men of Judah fought against Jerusalem and captured it and struck it with the edge of the sword and set the city on fire. And afterward the men of Judah went down to fight against the Canaanites who lived in the hill country of Negeb and in the lowland, and Judah went against the Canaanites who lived at Hebron. Now the name of Hebron was formerly Kiriath Arba. And they defeated Sheshia and Amen and Tama. From there they went against the inhabitants of Debir. The name of Debir was formerly Kiriath Sephir. And Caleb said, "He who attacks Kiriath Sephir and captures it, I will give him Aksah, my daughter, for a wife." And Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother, captured it, and he was given him Aksah, his daughter, for a wife. When she came to him, she urged him to ask her father for a field. And she dismounted from her donkey, and Caleb said to her, "What do you want?" She said to him, "Give me a blessing. Since you have set me in the land of Negeb, give me also springs of water." And Caleb gave her the upper springs and the lower springs. And the descendants of Kenite, Moses' father-in-law, went up with the people of Judah from the city of the palms into the wilderness of Judah, which lies in the Negeb near Arad. And they went and settled with the people. And Judah went with Simon, his brother, and they defeated the Canaanites who inhabited Zephath and devoted it to destruction. So the name of the city was called Hormah. Judah also captured Gaza with its territory, and Ashkelon with its territory, and Ekron with its territory. And the Lord was with Judah. And he took possession of the hill country, but he could not drive out the inhabitants of the plain because they had chariots of iron. And Hebron was given to Caleb, as Moses had said, and he drove out from it the 3 sons of Anak. But the people of Benjamin did not drive out the Jebusites who lived in Jerusalem. So the Jebusites have lived with the people of Benjamin in Jerusalem to this day. The house of Joseph also went up against Bethel, and the Lord was with them. And now the name of the city, and the house of Joseph scouted out Bethel. Now the name of the city was formerly Luz. And the spies saw a man coming out of the city. And they said to him, "Please show us the way into the city, and we will deal kindly with you." And he showed them the way into the city, and they struck the city with the edge of the sword. But they let the man and all his family go. And the man went to the land of the Hittites and built a city, and called its name Luz. That is its name to this day. Verse 27, Manasseh did not drive out the inhabitants of Beth Shean and its villages, or Tanakh and its villages, or the inhabitants of Dor and its villages, or the inhabitants of El Ebelim and its villages, or the inhabitants of Megiddo and its villages, for the Canaanites persisted in dwelling in that land when Israel grew strong. But they put the Canaanites to forced labor, but did not drive them out completely. So it's not good. And Ephraim did not drive out the Canaanites who lived in Gezer. So the Canaanites lived in Gezer. Among them, Zebulun did not drive out the inhabitants of Kitron and the inhabitants of Nahalal. And so the Canaanites lived among them, but became subject to forced labor. Asher did not drive out the inhabitants of Akko, and the inhabitants of Sidon and Alab, and Akzib, and Haba, or Afik, or of Rohab. So the Asherites lived among the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land. For they did not drive them out. Naphtali did not drive out the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh, or the inhabitants of Beth Anath. So they lived among the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land. Nevertheless, the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh and Beth Anan became subject to forced labor for them. So do y'all see that they're not finishing the task that God is telling them to, and this is not going to end well. You've got to completely leave that last environment that you were in before you became a child of God. Before you became a child of God, you've got to leave that past life alone. You cannot hang around with the same people. You cannot do the same things. You cannot make close ties with people that don't agree with the core of your beliefs now. And so they're doing this, and it's not going to be good because they were keeping the law, yes, but then they go away to serve other gods because they're not driving out these people. They're still living with people that serve other gods. It's not going to work. And so Naphtali did not drive out the inhabitants. And then, nevertheless, the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh and Beth Anath became subject to forced labor for them. The Amorites pressed the people of Dan back into the hill country, for they did not allow them to come down to the plain. The Amorites persisted in dwelling in Mount Heres, in Ajalon, and in Shaalbim. But the hand of the house of Joseph rested heavily on them, and they became subject to forced labor. And the border of the Amorites ran from the ascent of Acherubim to the Selah and upward. And that was chapter 1 of the book of Judges. Wow. Thank you so much for reading the Bible with me today. And I can't wait to see you next time we read. It's going to get dicey here. Israel begins to disobey God, unfortunately. And that's going to be in chapter 2 of the book of Judges. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Peace.